I just got this message that says, hey, I wanted to let you know that blank is celebrating his latest hit record by giving a handful of talented new producers the opportunity to work with him personally. Already, that's false because it's a fake profile sending that to me. And it's just kind of him flexing on me like, look what I did. I've worked with these same damn artists. I've seen producers go as far as charging for so-called guaranteed placements, which is just sick. Good morning. Let me take my glasses off. What's going down, everyone? It's DJ Payne 1. This is the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. And I'm tripping over my words because we keep having these different configurations. I do have Erinn night today. That's the good news. And I knew this was going to happen. The last episode that you couldn't make, people were upset. And I addressed it right away in the intro, and there were still comments asking where you were. So I know you're traveling.
Thanks for the love.
Oh yeah, they like you. And I feel like, it's unfortunate that Dame's not here today, but we just had to figure out the schedule in a way that brought Erinn back so we didn't get burned at the stake. I feel like if I don't make an episode, it's no great tragedy. It's just a little weird because, if you're watching it on my channel and I'm not there, it's just, I don't know. But if Erinn's not there, then it's an issue. I want to see.
That's crazy.
Let's see how much people love Dame, because I haven't missed an episode yet. So this is I think Dame's first time ever missing, and it's not his fault. It's the schedule's fault. We made a calculated decision.
That's here. On me.
Well, you just have a more interesting life than the rest of us. That's really kind of all it is. Don't apologize for that. Don't dim your light just because you got stuff going on.
Yeah, well, we're here now. I'm excited about today. Thanks for accommodating my schedule with this.
I mean, I'm just here being a hermit anyway, so anytime. I mean, if you want to thank me for that, I'll humbly accept. But speaking of humility, let's talk about a topic that goes against the concept of humility, which is clout. And this is something that I want to talk about because I want to talk about some producer stuff that just went down. So, Erinn, this is a hell of a topic. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's major. I think for me, I'm always wondering how much clout matters. And it seems like, oddly, as unfortunate as it is, clout wins out to a certain extent, which is why people still want clout. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why that is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it doesn't matter. But by sheer nature of the beast in my positioning, in a lot of scenarios and circles that I run in, I do have clout, right? But what I want is social currency. But because people don't know how to the difference between social currency and clout, it looks like the same thing. So therefore, I have clout, right? So I just want to know, like, how important is clout? Is clout something that actually benefits people, or is it only beneficial at the start when people don't know what they're getting into? It's a fascinating thing because I feel like that's all rappers care about, or most artists in general. They just care about clout,
and people in general.
And people in general, you're saying?
I would say so because the people. I don't think rappers acknowledging the clout of fellow rappers propels that ecosystem. I think a lot of it is just you have these satellite people around you. Do you know? And I know you've seen this where and there's nothing wrong with it. I think this is why we're having the conversation, to kind of dive deeper into this whole idea. But you'll see that there's an artist, rapper, singer, whoever, and they have this perceived value. And so you have suddenly a bunch of people that don't really contribute to their careers or anything, but they're there seemingly as this kind of symbiotic relationship where they praise the artist and the artist gives them access to their clout, I guess you would say. Do you know what I'm talking about?
100%. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird too, because as a person, I feel like I don't want to be leeching off of someone. right? So if I'm with somebody, my thoughts are proximity to greatness should only make me greater, right? It shouldn't make me thirstier, maybe hungrier, but I don't know. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around it. But I know plenty of artists and people like that who are just kind of hanging out. Like I get DM'd almost weekly now. Hey, I would love to work for you. Hey, I would love to work for you. And then I'll be like, well, what can you do? And people are like, anything. I'm like, okay, but what can you really do? Because I need redeemable skills and dope qualities that are beneficial to me. And I think people are so used to like you said, if I praise this person and they have enough status, they'll just be happy with me being around. So I'm not like that. So I still don't get it. So I don't know. Does clout matter? Is it beneficial? Is that person winning? The person who's just praising, I had this conversation a couple of days ago because I just got back from LA and I know Dame loves LA. So no disrespect to LA, but yeah, I just basically think there's so many people there in every city. So it's not just LA. It's just super apparent to me in LA. So many people are clout chasers. And they see their benefit based off of their proximity to other people, which is why they name drop so much. And my thought process is, why would I be okay with that? And no disrespect to whoever's being great. I love that you're being great, but even for me as an early manager, I was really frustrated that every time I introduced myself, I was like, hi, I'm Erinn. I'm da-da-da's manager. That would make me mad because I felt, especially when I first started, even now, I just feel like I've always been valuable in this situation. My value is not because my artist is successful. I'm successful and they're successful and our success is colliding. And so even after I stopped working with my first ever artist, my first ever band, the very next thing I did was develop something outside of music or outside of that band. So I started promoting shows, I created more value. So I don't know, is it a value issue? Is it that people don't have redeemable qualities? Is it that people are scared to take a chance on themselves? Is it that they have no aspirations? So clout seems good enough. I don't know, because then I see people who are successful and they're still worried about, but da-da-da, and this person, that person. I'm like, yo, does that I talk to my artists every week. And like even this week, we're about to launch a new project at the top of the year. And I had to talk my artists through the fact that it's not going to be as big as you want it to be because we're starting in a new territory. We're moving into Web3 stuff. And they're like, well, but I want everybody to see it. And it's like, yeah, but we have to go here. It's like the beginning of the internet. We have to start and we have to figure it out. And then once people catch up, we'll be ahead. But if we're just waiting until the masses are there, we're never going to be ahead. Why is this a discussion when we're talking about building the future? And they're still thinking about clout. It's weird to me.
So from the outside looking in, let's say we have two scenarios, right? One scenario where I'm around a much bigger name than, I guess, in terms of a following, in terms of experience, in terms of accolades, tangible stuff. Say I'm around a rapper that is multi-platinum, has 5 different hits, but we're friends and we work closely together, which is a real scenario. I mean, this has happened. And then, and I'm actually producing for him, but we're together because we're working, we have a friendship. There's the proximity. Then here's a totally separate scenario where I'm not even in the music business and I'm hanging around this rapper just because, if he needs a bottle of water, I got it. If he needs a ride to the studio, I got it. And I'm constantly like this the whole time, taking pictures of it all, documenting it all. From a distance, people may not be able to tell the difference between those two scenarios. So where does clout stop and where does the business relationship start? Another thing that, and like you said, as a manager, you're mentioning who you manage in these scenarios, and I'm sure that works for you in a practical way. Same with me. If I walk into a circle and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a producer, and I know that everyone around me is accomplished, and they're like, well, who have you produced for? I could just be like, oh yeah, this guy down the street, and because it's true. Or I could say, okay, well, I'm platinum and I was on this record, and I'm instinctively going to mention the bigger projects that have more notoriety, just because that's going to get me in that circle.
That's social currency, though.
Okay, so where does social currency stop and where does clout start?
That's my question right now, because I think that I believe, and this could, because I think the word clout, it's connotation versus denotation, what it actually means versus how people perceive it. But my belief is that clout never, like, there's no destination for it. Whereas social currency it's a maneuvering tactic. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you mentioned who you work with so that they see you as credible, but then you're going to back it up while you're in the room. I see clout as pointless. I'm in proximity to this person, therefore I should be in proximity to you now because I'm in proximity to other people who hold weight in merit. I myself don't hold weight in merit, or I don't hold enough where I think that it's worth you to pay attention to me. And for me, if somebody is only paying attention to me because of my proximity to somebody else, then I also don't want to be around that person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're like, oh, well, you don't know this person, because they're a clout fiend as well. The richest, most famous people that I've ever met actually are like, are you a decent human being? Can you hold a conversation? Right? So I don't know. I think that for me, social currency is just a move to continue, but clout is an ego move.
Sure. I think there's this whole semantic part of that, because clout never had that meaning, 10 years ago. It's all because of the internet. Now clout is a bad thing, whereas, before it just meant power, which, is a vague term. It could mean something positive. It could mean something negative. So yeah, and I've had that. I don't want to get too deep into, personal stuff, but I've definitely had that happen where I find out after the fact that somebody is using their proximity to me to try to get into places. And I'm like, how? It's me. No one cares. And if they do, that blows my mind. Because it's weird. That's a weird. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling to have people, or that. This is why I just don't have people around me. It's a weird feeling. And correct me if I'm wrong. If this is your experience too, it's a weird feeling to have people around you who just want to be around you, and there's not really a deep personal. And you'll soon find out there's not a deep personal connection. There's not really, because clout chasers are not loyal. The chaser part of their name shows that they will run the second they find something more potent than you. And so, that it hurts, but I see a lot of people just embracing that ego boost. And it's like, I want these people around me because of this momentary feeling of influence and power that it gives me. And then you find out, they're not my friends. And then 2 years down the road, you're talking about fake people this and fake people that. But it's like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship. So if you're using somebody for an ego boost, they're definitely using you for something. So separate conversation, but be aware of that.
Wow. That's actually very true. Yeah, no, I think it's super weird. I have like friends, real friends, right, that will call me and be like, hey, what do you think about this person, whatever? I'm like, I don't know. Or I've met them a couple times. They're cool. This happens like almost regularly, like monthly at this point. And they're like, oh, well, they told me that y'all were friends. And I'm like, I don't even have that person's phone number. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, what did they tell you? People will send me screenshots of DMs or texts. And hey, Erinn sent me, she said you were this, and that. I'm like, yo, this is false. like I had this one artist, a friend of mine who's a adult manager. He was interested in an artist. Reached out to the artist, was talking through stuff. The kid ends up telling him like, "Hey, I'm not really interested in you because Erinn's interested in managing me." So dude hits me. Dude doesn't move forward with it. A couple months later, we're together, and he's like, "So whatever happened with this artist?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't even know them." And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, they pulled up to one of my events in Texas. I saw that they dropped a song a few months ago and I reposted it. And then they DM'd me, 'Thank you.' I said, 'No doubt.' And he said, 'What? That's really all you?' I said, 'Yeah.' I sent him the DMs, screenshot, didn't even have the dude's phone number. He said, 'Look at this.' I'm talking about message after message. Yeah, Erinn's really messing with me. And the date that he said that to the guy was like maybe a day after I reposted his song. And I'm like, damn, I can't even be a fan of music anymore without somebody trying to name drop me. That's weird, you know? And then I feel like even with artists, I just dropped an artist, you know, last month. I had to start looking at our relationship. I was like, oh, this was a clout chase, the whole thing. The whole thing, which is a really sad reality because I've been managing this dude for 2.5 years, but it was the power and proximity to the things that he wanted, you know, and he didn't have those with the network that he had at the time. Now, after I've moved out of his orbit, he has access to all those because that's how I am. If you're really in my orbit, you're getting access to all these things. So granted, he can't handle them, you know, and then people know me and they know the story of what happened. So it's not like a lot of people are going to be giving him a ton, but he has the clout. There's fans that he has because of me. There's industry connections that he has because of me, you know? So I don't know. It's a weird situation. I think that people who act that way are super alarming for me. And I went through that phase in 2020, just realizing that 2019 was the best year of my career. And I had so many people coming my way that year and I could just feel it. I'm like, why? I've been around y'all for years. Why is it suddenly, you know, people tweeting me congratulations, people, oh, Erinn, stuff. I hadn't talked to this person 2-3 months. Oh, Erinn was telling me this, da, da, da. Or, you know, in conversations, people are like, oh, it's weird. It's super weird. And it's kind of happening again right now with the MEC. I'm starting to see more people name drop me because the platform is so much bigger and they'll repost the stuff and tag. And I'm like, you don't really like me. You don't care about anything that I do. You just want to be in proximity to me, especially behind the scenes, because people know that I'm such a caring and I want to love people and care about people, you know, so they'll try to be nice, but it's because they're trying to finesse their way onto one of my stages or get on a tour. You know, the shit is just weird to me. So I don't know. I agree with you. Clout has changed because, like you said, the word just means power. But because of clout chasers, I think clout has been ruined, or clout as we did formerly know it.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is about all of this is it's so impotent when you really when it really comes down to it. You know, there's nothing there for anybody. If that's what they're there for, you can't fill a pocket with clout. It's nothing. So when somebody spends all their time, and I've seen it, it's sad. Like, people just want these fake friendships for proximity, and when those friendships end, they have nothing. I mean, if I have a friendship or a relationship, even if it ends poorly, I have experiences, I have lessons, I have things to fondly reflect back on. You know, like I've had relationships end like my last relationship. It ended kind of poorly. But I can think of very happy times. I've known people who just wanted to, excuse my vulgarity, but fuck celebrities. And when they get it, I was actually shocked at how, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to fuck a celebrity, but I do think that there's something toxic about that being your sole goal in a sexual relationship. Like, do you know, if you want to go out and enjoy your sexuality, please do that, but the celebrity part is what's weird to me. And I've known people whose goal it was, I swear to you, I knew this young woman whose goal it was just to like be in proximity sexually to a celebrity, and she did it. And it was like the greatest thing in the world. And then that was kind of the end of her social media presence. And I don't know what happened to her, but it was just so weird to witness it, where I'm like, wow, you've been trying so long. The way that someone tries to get a job or graduate school or get a plaque or find a fulfilling relationship or whatever, you were just trying so hard to get to this. You didn't care who the celebrity was, and you did it.
She posted about that too? Like that was her journey?
It was pretty clear. It wasn't, which I respect, because some people might hide that, and she didn't hide it. But then it also just made me think, like, man, you need therapy to talk this through, because what is it that and a lot of people do. I certainly do, and so I get it. But a lot of people need therapy, and a lot of it goes to relationships. What do you want? I happen to think the average person, myself included, doesn't know what they want out of a romantic sexual relationship, whatever the case is, whoever the person is. I think a lot, that's why divorce rates are 52% or something crazy. And that's why relationships seem cheap. And especially now that we're all isolated. I'm getting into a whole different tangent, but back to clout. I mean, I think this clout thing morphs into a lot of different things, and it even applies to people who aren't celebrities. You want to be with this attractive person, or you want to be with this person that fulfills you in some sort of way that isn't really long term. And so there's all types of iterations of this concept we're talking about, and unfortunately, a lot of them are negative, because at the end of it all, they leave a person feeling empty.
I'm rocking with all of the stuff that you're saying, but yes, it just all leaves you feeling empty. I like that you brought it back to people just need to go to therapy, because it's like, what is your actual point? When you think about it, you want to be wanted, you want to be desired, and you want to be valued, and you don't know how to do that. So you think that latching onto somebody else, or you have some value and you're just trying to ride your value up instead of dealing with what you need to, loving yourself, affirming yourself, and investing in what you actually want versus being an unlikely leech. So yeah, I'm with it.
And what really also bothers me about that, because it's happened to me with people that, I care about as humans, and I just kind of look at them, because I'm not that stupid. I see things for what they are. But if they're not harming me, it's not necessarily something that I need to dedicate energy on ending. So I'll look at a person, not in like a romantic relationship, then it gets weird, but just a person, that's around. I look at them and I think, why aren't you doing more? You have so much potential, even if you're doing this to like, there was a situation that hasn't been resolved where, that whole clout symbiosis wasn't, I stopped reciprocating. I'm like, there are reasons for it, real reasons, practical, reasonable reasons. And then the person rebelled against me and is now very angry at me. And I would always look at this person and think, why do you put yourself in these situations with other people where you're constantly trying to please them? They don't ask for it. You're around them all the time. And then when they don't reciprocate, you're upset. That's not healthy for you, because you are imposing this onto, you're imposing your need for proximity around them and for validation from them onto them. And then you're upset when they don't return it. That's not their issue. It's not at all. So again, look at Erinn's shirt. I want to talk about a different application of clout, though. And I'm sure you've seen this too. I want to turn it into a cautionary tale, because people are like, okay, you're just always talking about negative stuff. This is a cautionary tale. Cautionary tales are both negative and positive, because life is both negative and positive, especially when we're navigating the music business. So if you don't like what I'm saying, I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to be negative. This just actually happened to me recently, and it's happening to us all. In general, I just say be careful of people who make moves, who get clout and then instantly start selling their clout. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
In other words,
oh my gosh,
they instantly start using their recent accomplishments to sell access to themselves. It's suspicious to me because, if musicians were doing as well as they claim, why would they suddenly shift their focus to charging a few dollars for access to them, to random strangers? Why wouldn't they just be focusing on their big projects, rather than splitting their time for smaller money? Like for me personally, if I were getting a lot of big industry opportunities to the point where, I'm just overwhelmed with opportunity, I would probably remove some of the services from my website. Not because I think I'm big, but just because I don't have time. Or I would start expressing to people, hey, if you get a collab from me, or hey, if you get a consultation from me, and I'm not going to change the price just to be an asshole, but my access would be harder. So I would have to change some things. Whereas to me, it seems like the opposite is happening for a lot of people. Do you know what I'm talking about?
100%. I do. I know what you're saying, but I do want to say this. Selling consultations and things like that are okay. Even selling access to you is not inherently problematic. The problem is that people are pretending that they're now suddenly this great, huge person because they have and not to demean success, they've garnered a little bit of success. And now their actual career focus is parlaying those few successful moments. And now you're teaching people how to get that success, which I think I don't have a problem with it. I don't want all the coaches to come after me. I get it. I personally, I'm with you. It's very weird. It's like if you're this super producer and you spend all this time producing for people, when do you have time to host these retreats and these mega classes and seminars? And again, for certain trades, I get it. Like the t-shirt guys, they become t-shirt gurus. I get it. I think that you should teach what you know, which is why we have this podcast. It's why we do MEC. It's why we offer consultations. But I'm with you. It's this weird, it feels almost predatory, but like an advanced clout chase. Like that's the 2.0 of clout chasing.
Yeah. Well, and I want to make a distinction too, because we're always encouraging people to do their own research and be discerning and to be skeptical. So the MEC is free. It's been free for years. The podcast has always been free. I feel like timing also, I'd say timing and cost versus benefit are the two things to really look at. So one, is this person experienced enough to be your teacher? Do they have the right kind of experience to be your teacher? Oftentimes you'll see that the timing is they just got an opportunity and they're capitalizing on it, or they got an opportunity way back and they're trying to recapitalize on it as though that's new. I swear people can spot the difference, but self-denial is strong because it goes to the cost benefit thing. They may be emphasizing these false benefits, like I can show you how to do this. I can show you how to make millions. I can show you. They can't. No one, I mean, like you can, for me, all I can do is tell you what has worked for me and give you my advice. I'm one person. And I would never charge, $500 for that. No disrespect for the people who are, but at the same time, what kind of benefit are you getting for that price? Let me just put it in literal terms. Because I've seen a lot of producers do it. I've seen rappers do it. I've even seen managers do this. But I think a lot of them have a skill set and they can teach, but also it's a money move. If you're selling something, it's a money move, especially if it's a lot of money. If it's like a course for $300 to $500, that's a money move. And there's nothing wrong with that if there's value in it. Anyway, for me, it would be like, here's an example of a hypothetical. For me, when the last Pooh Shiesty single dropped, I could have just started contacting random producers and saying, yo, I just worked on Pooh Shiesty's latest single. I want to give you a chance to work with me. Just send me $300 for an exclusive collab opportunity. Already I'm lying because it's not exclusive because I'm contacting anyone. and I'll take money from anybody. And already I'm tying access to me into access to Pooh Shiesty. I'm not giving that to you. All right. That's a problem for me when people, say, I just did this. I co-produced a Drake record. Here's your chance to work with me. I'm just 1 degree away from Drake. Wink, wink. That's a red flag. I've seen producers go as far as charging for so-called guaranteed placements, which is just sick. That's disgusting. So let me talk about what happened to me. I'm not going to say names because I'm not trying to damage anyone's reputation here. This just makes it real to me on what I'm talking about. I just got this message that says, "Hey, I wanted to let you know that blank is celebrating his latest hit record by giving a handful of talented new producers the opportunity to work with him personally." Already, that's false because it's a fake profile sending that to me. And it's just kind of him flexing on me like, look what I did. I've worked with these same damn artists. So you're not giving me an opportunity. You're giving me a sales pitch. I see through that. Somebody who's never worked with these artists might see those names and say, oh, I want access to them too. Because that's kind of the implication. It's like, I just worked with this big artist, work with me. You can do the same thing. That's not how it works. That is absolutely not how it works. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. They keep talking about all the different artists they've worked with. They're also known for providing the only 100% hands-on producer development course. I don't know if that's true, working with you one-on-one.
What does that even mean?
Hands-on means like I'm in the room with you, and I don't think that's the case. And then it says blank aren't going to be able to keep offering this service forever. So there's the scarcity kind of like ClickFunnels tactic where it's like, this deal's going to run out in 5 hours. Think fast. If you're serious, have a pro budget and are ready to take your career to the next level, drop so-and-so a DM right now saying development. And you have to DM him because the profile that's contacting you is probably going to get taken down by Instagram for spamming. So this is a person that's actually contacted me before personally, directly, I think, just to collaborate for free. And now they're contacting me to charge me. Who knows? They said have a pro budget. A pro budget, what does that mean to you? What does that imply? Pro budget to me is like maybe $1,000.
Who knows? I think they just say something like that so that when they quote the egregious price that they have, then you're like, oh, well, that must just be what people pay to do things.
I think you're right. If you throw in the word pro, it loads it so that, like, if I look at someone and I go, hey, I got platinum beats, but do you have a platinum budget? All of a sudden you put them on their toes. It's like strip club type shit where like, and strippers are geniuses at navigating social situations. You can learn so much.
I have several friends who are dancers, and they even just talking to them, you're like, wow, they're geniuses when it comes to communication.
No, the psychology behind interacting with customers in that context, amazing. But it's the same kind of stuff. And like, I know the game with the strip clubs. Like you go there and anyone who doesn't, there's something wrong with them. And there may be predators or something. But
you're saying who doesn't go to the strip club?
No, who doesn't go to the strip club knowing what the game is?
Oh,
like
okay.
You're there to spend money, but people just get, I don't know. That's another conversation.
I've actually never been to a strip club before.
I have, but not necessarily willingly. I've just been I've had long-term relationships with women whose profession that was. So I learned a lot about the psychology. And so I'm just kind of looking at this like, oh, you think I don't know? Because I'm in the business. I've been in the business longer than this guy that's trying to sell me access to his clout. The psychology behind saying I need a pro budget. It's like, yeah, it'd be like a dancer saying, I don't know, I'm not a dancer. I'm not good at this. I'm going to say something stupid, but like telling a guy, don't you want to spend more time with me in the private room? That kind of like you're loading the question because you put them on the spot. And if they say no, you're kind of insulting the woman and you're also betraying that maybe you're broke and you don't want to look bad. So this is the same thing. If I say, do you have a pro budget, and you say no, then it's like, oh, you're not a pro. You can't rock with me on my level because I only mess with pros. And then it also might come down to, it might give me an opportunity to say, well, you know what? We'll do this. I'm going to cut the price in half for you because I really mess with you. I'm going to say one more very bold thing. If anyone wants to work with you or is offering you a service or anything, even a beat, and you ask them how much and they say, what's your budget? Run. Get out. Because all that means is they're going to, if you ask me what the cost of a beat is, I'm going to tell you a number. Do it right now. DM me. I will tell you the number.
I don't know about that, because when people hit my artists for features, we have a range. And I always ask what their budget is, because for some people, they'll be like, oh, I have $200 or $300. And I'll be like, hey, I don't think this is right for you, because I don't want to insult people right away.
No, right. No, that's different. That's different.
Okay.
Sorry, because you actually know. Okay. See, I knew I was going to say something that was a little too general. Let me revise what I said. I apologize. There are certain things that you can have a range for, but you have a range. It's probably written somewhere. Everybody's aware. It's not like I could go from 0 to $1 million. What's your budget? Oh, my budget is 100,000. Cool. I got you on 3 beats. But if someone else said, hey, my budget's 1,000. Cool. I got you on 3 beats. I just want the money. Whereas you're like, well, if someone offers 300, I'm going to say no. If someone offers me 300 for an exclusive beat, I'm probably going to say no too. But I'm also going to say, this is what I would need for this. This is like my floor. And if 5 other people contact me the same day, they're going to get the same answer. And if they contact you the same day, they're going to get the same answer too. Because
yeah, for sure,
you're not a liar and you're not just trying to leech money out.
For sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that's the important thing is, are you working with somebody who seems like a professional versus not? But I think it's interesting what you said. People are selling access to their clout. That's such an interesting phrasing. And it's true. Those people are also going after clout chasers. When people hit me and they're like, yo, do you think I should take this opportunity? I always say no. Somebody's DMing you an opportunity. Now, I have a mentorship class that I'm launching right after the new year, and it's for artists. It's very inexpensive, like less than $20 a week, right? So it's one monthly fee that you're paying via Patreon. And yeah, it's super cheap, but I'm doing it not based off of the proximity to the people who have worked for me. I'm targeting my fans and people who know what I do for the benefit of them growing in business. And I think that's the distinction. Whereas other people are, hey, I have worked with this big person. I have done this big thing. You should now give me all this money. And I have this vague thing that I'm going to do for you, but there's no guaranteed return on investment.
That's the other thing too, how it's being described. And like you saw with the email that I just read out loud, or the DM that I just read out loud, there are 3 important factors there that are red flags. Well, 4. 1, mentioning others as kind of the entry point for conversation. 2, the fact that I didn't reach out to them, they reached out to me. That's a red flag, because they're reaching out to hundreds, if not thousands of other people. They're casting a wide net, and they're pretending to make it exclusive. When they start using language like, I'm only offering this to a couple of people, it's a damn lie. It's a fake profile. It's a Instagram bot. You think an Instagram bot is bougie about who it talks to? Come on. And then number 3 is the vagueness of the budget. You know, what's your budget? You name it, because we'll take it. And then lastly, as you were just saying, no actual practical descriptions of what you're getting out of the service. It's just, we have this amazing opportunity. Don't you want to take the opportunity? And that's how, unfortunately, that's how every scam works, honestly. It's pretty, like, either they guarantee you something specific that's just so off the wall that you really need to say no and figure out develop that power of discernment in your own brain, or it's something so vague and it just leaves your head spinning. And then I'm like you, Erinn, where I get 5 people a day saying, hey, do you think I should take this opportunity? I say no every time. And they're like, why? I'm like, don't be an idiot. They're asking you for $300 to sign with Atlantic Records and the word Atlantic is misspelled. Like, come on.
Or I can get you in the room with this A&R. It's like, yo, get a LinkedIn, like, or follow them on Twitter and add some encouraging words to the things that they're actually doing. Access to people is a lot more organic than we try to make it on the internet.
Yeah, let's end on that, because that really is, access to people, period, is more organic. And there is this really ugly narrative out there in the music business, from people outside of the music business, I would say, that everything is about clout, everything's about connections, everything's fake. It's absolutely not. It's not. Everything, when we're talking about real relationships, this stuff is real. Like, people in the business are actually caring. The people that have contributed to me having the success I have actually care about me.
Facts.
And I actually care about them. And like, you know, there's nothing fake. I've actually never met Erinn in person. Like, we haven't spent time with each other. But like with the MEC, I met Dame in person a long time before I even partnered with him. And then we've spent a lot of time together in Airbnbs and hotels and on the road and in trains, and we haven't strangled each other. And that's a great sign. So trust me when I say that the people in this business working together are working together for a reason. It's not like, you know, oh my God, Erinn has tens of thousands of followers, we need her on the MEC. Like,
I'm the smallest person on the show with the least access to anything. And
ironically, you're the one that everyone freaks out about if you're not present on the episodes. But yeah, that's another point. You know, the fans don't care either. Like, come on. You know, humanity is still what we all seek. Maybe subconsciously, maybe on a conscious level, we're denying all of our humanity and putting numbers and putting clout scores on ourselves and on the people we interact with. But ultimately, I don't want to be metaphysical or anything, but like, ultimately, I think our souls and our spirits know better, and we really desire that human connection. And so if you were thinking that the music business is just this fake place to be fake and use people because that's what's going to happen to you, please don't think that way. It's not. It's you're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to leave, because that's an awful and toxic way to live and move through any industry. Even if bad things happen to all of us. We share Erinn shares her bad experiences. I share mine. It's not a reason to become what has hurt you. So don't do that. Life is good. Humans are humans. Move with intention, and hopefully that intention is positive.
Great way to end it. You want me to give out the phone number? I pulled it up.
Yeah, do you know it? Because I genuinely defer to Dame, because I don't know. It. Okay, cool. So let's make it seem like Dame is here. All right. Appreciate you tuning in. Once again, our free music business mentorship program meets twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on beatstars.live. If you want to get alerted every time we go live, text MEC to the number that Erinn's about to give you.
It's 844-206-7800.
One day, if I can memorize my social security number, I can memorize that. I just haven't yet. Thanks, Erinn.
You got it.
All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Peace.